Have you recently got a Cricut machine and have no clue where to start? I'm here to help you today. Hey everyone, it's Christina from the DIYmummy.com. I'm obsessed with all things Cricut. It's a craft cutting machine. And you might have seen a lot of my DIY and decor ideas using the Cricut in previous videos. I want to thank Cricut for sponsoring this video today. I am so excited to share with you exactly how to set up your Cricut right from the box and 3 projects that I think are perfect for beginner Cricut users. I'm gonna go through everything step by step, and hopefully by the end of this video, you'll feel confident to open up your Cricut, get it all set up and going, and make some beautiful products. Let's get started. A Cricut is a craft cutting machine that cuts a variety of materials like vinyl, like paper, and iron-on heat transfer. I do have a video all about a Cricut and what it does. I will link it in the description box below if you want to learn more. I am unboxing a Cricut Explore Air 2, which is the machine that I most recommend to people. However, if you want to learn about all of the 3 different machines Cricut currently has on the market, click in the description box below for this video, which talks about all of the different machines and which one might be best for you. Inside the box, you're going to find the machine, you're going to find a mat, some cords, a pen, and more. In this packet here, there is a guide on how to get started. It's quite simple. Open up the guide and you're going to see the first little page here. It tells you to plug your machine in. So go ahead and plug it in using the little input at the back, and also make sure there's a lot of space in the front and the back of your Cricut. The next page tells you to go to cricut.com/setup. Just a quick note, you can download Cricut's mobile app and you can set up your machine from there. I use the mobile app a lot when I want to create something really quickly on the go. So go to cricut.com/setup. You're going to find this screen, and then you can download a program called Cricut Design Space. Once you have that program downloaded and installed on your computer, simply follow the prompts to set up your new machine. I'm clicking the Cricut Explore Air 2. I plugged it in, and now I'm going to go ahead and connect it to my computer. You can connect your machine to your computer using the included cord in the box, or you can connect it by Bluetooth. Connecting it by Bluetooth is really going to depend on your type of computer. I will leave a couple of options for that in the description box below. You can set up a Cricut ID account. I set mine up with my email address, and I'm registering my machine. Once your machine is registered, it's all ready to go. Now, Cricut does provide a few test cut images, but I'm going to show you some really easy projects to get started with your Cricut. Here are my 5 tips for choosing a beginner-friendly Cricut project. Tip number 1 is choose a 1-color design. It's going to be so much easier to make. Number 2, use a design space image. 3, and/or use a design space font. 4, choose a blank that has nice, smooth, straight surfaces. And finally, number 5, choose a simple design. We're going to start by making this really cute mug, and this is the exact same method I use to make labels as well. So in Cricut Design Space, click on this little button in the top right-hand side called New Project. Then you're going to click on the image icon on the left. And Cricut has a whole bunch of images in Design Space. There are some that are free, and there are some that you can pay a little bit of money for, or you can subscribe to Cricut Access, which is a monthly fee, and it's going to give you a whole lot of images to choose from. I found this free image. I just searched Create, and I'm just inserting it to my new project. I thought it was so pretty, and I love this font that they have in here. I'm going to go ahead and click that left button that says templates, and I'm going to search for a mug template. This is going to help me make my little mug decal or decal. If you live anywhere other than Alberta, Canada, we say decal here. It's going to help me make this decal the right size. I'm clicking on my image. You can use a little arrow in the lower right hand side to resize the image, or you can go up here and change the width and the height to whatever you'd like it to be. I'm just double checking that this design is going to fit the mug that I found. I found this beautiful mug at the dollar store. And I'm just moving it along on my template to make sure that it looks exactly how I want it to. Once I'm ready, I'm going to turn my Cricut on and put it in the right spot. The Cricut's going to come with the blade already inserted. For this project, I'm using Cricut's premium vinyl. This is permanent vinyl, and it's definitely the one that I recommend using for mugs or labels. In Cricut Design Space, now you're going to click Make It, and you're going to see how the design is going to look cut on your vinyl. Then click Continue, and you can select your Cricut device in this little drop-down menu. Now you're going to want to put your material on the Cricut mat, remove that protective clear sheet on the mat, and then attach your material to the mat. This sticky mat is what keeps your material in its place while you're cutting it. You can also cut a smaller piece of material like I'm doing here and put it on your mat. Now turn your dial to the material type you're using. So I am using vinyl, so I'm turning my dial to the vinyl setting. Then you put your mat inside the machine and click the load button. Once you're ready to go, you just have to click that little Cricut button and it's going to begin cutting your design. You can see the progress of your cut in Cricut Design Space and you can watch it do its thing. It is actually really fun to watch. Once your cut is all finished, it's going to tell you, you click that load button again to unload your design. Now you're going to do what's called weeding your design, which is basically removing all of the excess vinyl from your design. You can do this with your fingers, or you can use Cricut's tools to help you get those little bits and pieces. The tools are extra. You can find them on the Cricut website, or you can just use whatever tools you have on hand, or your fingernails work for this as well. Remove all of the excess around the design, plus all of the excess inside the letters like the O's, the A's, the E's, etc. Once you're all finished, your design is going to look like this. It's going to have the backing behind it and all of the vinyl letters ready to go. Now you're going to use what's called transfer tape, and this is what's going to transfer your design perfectly onto your mug. It's going to keep all of your words in the right spot and all of those tiny little parts of your design in the right place. Cut a piece of transfer tape that's the same size as your design, and then you can smooth it onto the design with a Cricut tool like this, or also just using your hand. Now take your mug and you can wipe it with a degreasing cleaner to make sure it's really clean and ready to go. Then you take the decal that you made and remove it from the transfer tape. I like to place it upside down and remove the backing just like this. Then carefully place your design on the mug, making sure not to touch that sticky back of the vinyl, and smooth it in place really well. You want it to stick really nicely to your mug. Then finally, you're going to carefully remove the transfer tape from the corner, just like I'm doing here, and your mug is all finished. This is one of my favorite first-time projects to make. Everybody loves a mug, and it's really simple, especially if you use the Design Space images like I'm doing here. These mugs are hand wash, or I've had success washing them in the top rack of my dishwasher as well. Now we're going to make a t-shirt, and we're going to use some heat transfer vinyl for this project, which is slightly different than using vinyl. We're also going to make a design ourselves using a system font. So using a system font or a font from Cricut is a lot easier than trying to import something yourself, but you could do that later on. I'm using Arial, and I'm just clicking on that text tool on the left-hand side and writing "Let's get started," which is a phrase that I always use at the beginning of all of my videos. You can resize it using the arrows on the bottom right here, or again, you can use those top measurements up here. I'm going to make mine 9 inches wide, which is about as much as I want it to be on my t-shirt. You can also use these little line height tools and these width between letter tools up here in Design Space to move your letters closer together or your lines closer together to make a nice custom look. You can also go as far as to do the advanced thing, and you can divide all of the letters up and move them around like this. We're not going to do that with this image because I actually like it how it is. Now we're going to take that whole image, and what I like to do is weld it so it's all one piece. There's no more individual letters. This whole thing is an image. Now click Make It, and then you see how it's going to look on the mat. For heat transfer vinyl, you have to click this mirror button because you're basically cutting this on the material upside down. But don't worry, Cricut Design Space does tell you this when you send it to your machine. It's going to have a little reminder that asks you to mirror your design, and you just have to click this little mirror button here. I'm using heat transfer vinyl in black from Cricut. I'm putting it the shiny side down on my Cricut mat. Then you load it up to your machine and press start, and the Cricut machine will do the rest. Once everything's finished, remove your heat transfer vinyl from the Cricut mat. You can cut off any excess. There are tons of projects you can do with little bits of vinyl, so definitely keep all of the little bits that you can. And then again, we're going to go ahead and weed all of the excess vinyl the same way that we weeded the vinyl for our first project. Now that our design is all weeded and ready to go, take a t-shirt and you can fold it in half and use an iron or Cricut's Easy Press, either one works. Make a little crease in the middle so you know where to put your design, and place your design in the middle of your t-shirt. I'm using Cricut's heat mat to do this as well. Then take a Cricut Easy Press, and you can check out Cricut's Easy Press heat settings online to see exactly how hot you have to make your Easy Press and how long you hold it on your design to transfer it. Once the design is cool, carefully remove that backing for the perfect transfer. Now you can use a household iron for this, as I mentioned, but the Easy Press definitely does the best job from my experience. It has exactly the right heat setting so that the vinyl is going to stay really well on your t-shirt or bag or pillow or wherever you're transferring it. Now let's do one final project that's perfect for beginners. In Cricut Design Space, they have a ton of ready-to-make projects. You just go to the main screen and you can search for projects. We're gonna make this smile card, which requires some cardstock and the fine point pen, which comes right in the Cricut box. I just want to show you how this works. I'm going to go into this design. You don't have to do this, but I want to show you when I detach this design and I click on the smile area and the kite, you can see up here in the operations panel that we're on the pen. And you can change that to cut if you want. And then when I click on this box here, you can see that this is basic cut. That can be changed as well. So you can see which parts are for the pen and which parts are for your blade to cut. Now I'm going to make this project and click the Continue button. I'm going to select my Cricut device, which is my Explore Air 2. I'm going to make sure that my little wheel is on cardstock, and I'm going to insert my pen in the left-hand side of my Cricut. You have to open up the lid and really push that in until it snaps. And then on the right-hand side, I still have my blade here. So we're going to be able to do these two functions, one right after the other. So my material is set to cardstock. It tells me which tools I have to make sure are loaded into my Cricut, and then I press the load button, and when it's ready, I press the start button. Now this is really fun to watch. I love watching my Cricut use the pen to do drawing. So it's starting with a drawing first, and then it by itself is switching to the cut blade and doing the cuts now. So as long as you've identified which lines are cut and which lines are draw in Design Space, the Cricut is going to go ahead and do them one right after the other for you. Then you can remove your design from the Cricut mat. If you have to gently push out any of the design, you can. If you're finding that your blade isn't cutting all the way through, you can play a little bit with that wheel on the right-hand side and just move it clockwise once to give it a little bit more pressure. You also might have to change your blade if you're finding it's not cutting well, and you can buy extra blades at Cricut.com, or you can buy them at a craft store as well. Now we're going to fold the card in half and place a little card insert inside. You can buy these separately, or you can just cut them out yourself from extra cardstock. Now this is a really cute and simple way to make a card, and I love how we're using the pen feature and the cut feature as well. Thank you so much for watching this video today. I hope you found this setup tutorial and these project ideas helpful. If you're a new Cricut user, or even if you're more experienced, I hope you enjoyed these projects. Let me know down in the comments below which one was your favorite. I'd also love to know if you currently have a Cricut, or if you're considering getting one. Thanks again to Cricut for sponsoring this video, and if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel for more DIY and decor ideas on a budget. I'm gonna leave some more videos that I hope you'll enjoy watching next right up here. Just a quick note, you can download Cricut's mobile app and you can set up your machine from there. I use the mobile app a lot when I want to create something really quickly on the go.